Good morning, everyone. Okay, we are on what we call cruising with the case handler. And of course, you heard that big voice, morning. That's the voice. Okay, we call him Conrad Pollack. He's the maestro. Of course, one of the managing partners at the firm PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and the Sequel. Prior to that, I was speaking with, of course, the Maverick, aka, or better known as Nelson Madrid. Of course, he's an attorney at the firm, also an immigration attorney. He just said, "Hey, man, I didn't know Colin Powell was Jamaican, man." I'm like, "Yeah, we got a lot of Jamaicans up in this, you know, the United States here that's repping." And of course, Mr. Alan Kaye, the general, he initiated this session here. So we got to say a pleasant good morning to him. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Cruising with a Case Handler, I have three immigration attorneys today that will be speaking with me on U.S. immigration. Bring your immigration questions to the forum right here on 93.5 WVIP FM. Bring your immigration questions to the WhatsApp group that we have set up. Bring your immigration questions to Facebook, and I will ask you to share on Facebook. I'm going to be going to them shortly, but let's just, one of the things, I'm going to be very blunt. Everyone knows that. I'm a Leo. Got to remind you about my birthday. That's why I segued into that. That's tomorrow. You know, and one thing I really like, if I'm doing something, it's got to be done well. So I'm asking every one of you out there, if you're watching us on Facebook right now, do us a favor, give us a compliment by sharing the page that you're watching. It's a great show. It's a powerful show. It's one of the reasons I wake up in the morning to do this show, to help the immigrant community and more. And that's the God honest truth, to help people. So every day I get up, I look forward to this show. So we're asking you to share the show with as many people as possible. Now, here's how you share as we build up the audience before I get to the attorneys who will answer your immigration questions and give us some immigration news update. You click on that share button at the bottom of the screen, ladies and gentlemen, and it will pop up and ask if you want to share on groups, timelines, pages. If you are a part of groups, share to all of your groups. Share to your timelines, share to your friends' pages. Okay, just keep sharing. If you share to at least 20 individuals' pages, you will be helping us out tremendously. Once again, this is a show on immigration today. It's exclusively immigration today. Although the show is normally about personal injury and immigration, today we're focusing on immigration. So once again, this is Cruising with the Case Handler, a show on immigration. Make sure you call us at 844-774-3529. Now let me get the good part in. The good part is that every single person that's watching this show, that's listening to 93.5 FM, you will get a free phone consultation if you call before 10 a.m. Guaranteed. Now, the free phone consultation will be off the air with one of the attorneys. Just get that appointment set up right now. But you've got to call this number, 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Now, I've introduced everyone. Let me introduce myself. I am David Squeezaniki. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a businessman with multiple entities, and I am here in New York City today. Let's jump right into the show. And let's introduce, of course, Mr. Conrad Pollack. How you doing? Mr. Nelson Madrid, how you doing? Alan Kaye, how you all doing?
All good. Good morning, everybody. Beautiful day today in New York. I'm not going to get into the details of what's happening in the immigration field. I'll leave that to the general. But I hope everybody's been watching the Democratic Convention on television. A lot of good stuff happening. As we've been talking regularly, Joe Biden is going to bring back sanity to the immigration field and really help a lot of you listeners out there that have your own cases going or applying for family members or friends or relatives. Again, get out and vote. Let's get Biden in. Let's get Democrats in. There'll be immigration reform. DACA will be taken care of. They'll stop going after any person who's here illegally and focus on the people that need to be removed. All good stuff if Biden gets elected. So that's my piece. Go ahead, Alan.
Well, actually, wait, before Alan goes, actually, fun fact, which is really interesting. I've been following the Democratic National Convention as well. I thought Obama gave an amazing, I mean, he is by far, in my opinion, hands down, one of the best orators of all time.
Yeah, he is good. You know, and it's funny, I was listening to Fox News this morning. I always like to listen to Fox News to hear what the bad guys are discussing. And all they're talking about on the news is how unprecedented Obama's criticism of the sitting. How could he criticize a sitting president like that? Nobody's ever done it before. And I'm saying to myself, you got to be kidding me. You're actually gonna. It reminded me of the time that they were all jumping on Obama because he wore that tan suit. Remember that? It's like, oh my God, he's wearing a tan suit. My God, look what the presidency, the country's gonna come to an end. Or the other time that he saluted and he had a coffee cup in his hand. I mean, think about it. All right, think about the things that they used to criticize him for, and then what this lunatic has been doing for the last 4 years. You know, it's so it just brought me back to, like, I remember when they were criticizing Obama because he had that tan suit on. You know, it's like.
But what's interesting, what I was really going to say was I found out for the first time yesterday that Joe Biden was instrumental in creating VAWA.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, I think that tells you a lot about who he is as a person.
Well,
so,
Nelson, tell everybody what VAWA is and how it applies to the immigrant community.
VAWA is basically the Violence Against Women Act, and it allows spouses of either permanent residents or U.S. citizens who have been the victim of domestic violence or have suffered extreme cruelty at the hands of their spouse to legalize their status in the United States. I obviously have worked with VAWA for many, many years, but had no idea Joe Biden was so instrumental in the creation of VAWA.
He wrote it. He wrote the bill.
Yes. So, I mean, again, it was something, I watched. I don't know, for all those listeners and viewers who didn't watch, again, it's a fun fact, something I think is definitely important to mention.
And VAWA also applies to violence against men too, right, Nelson?
Right, absolutely. It applies to both men and women. Again, who have suffered, you have to demonstrate that you were obviously legally married to a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, that you live together, that you suffered extreme battery or cruelty at the hands of your spouse, and you're a person of good moral character, and basically you deserve a favorable exercise of discretion.
And of course, the Trump administration, the Immigration Service these days has made, as like everything else, they've made it exceedingly more difficult to qualify. Now you basically have to come in, with black eyes to convince them that you're a legitimate VAWA applicant. So, but Biden did write it, and it's been very helpful to a lot of the immigrants that we've seen over the years since it was created almost 20 years ago.
Absolutely. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear and feel the energy on my birthday eve as we talk about immigration, okay? Powerful attorneys. Now, I will not continue the show until one of you asks me something. Come on, Nelson.
Squeeze, are you down with PPID?
Come on, you know me. We are cruising with, of course, the case handlers this morning, and they will handle your case. We're going to jump right to Alan E.K., the general. We call him the general because he has all the links with immigration. So God forbid your case is held up. Okay, God forbid something is not right. He can reach out via, of course, the conventional means here by way of email, phone, or whatever, and said, hey, what's going on over there? Okay, we got our people here standing by waiting, and everything seems right on our side. What's going on your side? That's why we call him the general. He's an attorney at PPID. Now, I love when Nelson winds up Conrad Pollack, because can't you all tell that this guy is pro us? He's pro everybody as far as positive is concerned and the right thing, and definitely not with the orange guy. Anyway, I won't even wind him up anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, the number to call to get your free phone consultation, and I noticed a couple of people started calling, it's 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Let's jump to Alan. Alan, bring us up to speed, man, before we get to some questions and get them answered by you attorneys.
Okay, just to begin, you and your family and friends who are U.S. citizens must get out to vote. 90 million people have not been voting who could. Get out to vote. We will help you if you need help. If you make a plan to vote, If you don't know how to vote and you're a U.S. citizen, get in touch with us. We will help you with that. Okay, and a major victory, the Immigration Service has agreed to produce working cards within 5 days. They had a very, very big backlog. I've been talking to Rob Cohen, the lawyer who's been handling the case, and they now have promised that green cards will generally be issued within 5 days.
Wait, I'm sorry, Alan, you mean employment authorizations?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about employment authorization, EAD. And in addition, if you have an approval notice, but you haven't gotten your EAD, employment authorization card, you can use the paper approval notice to work and fill out an I-9. That's a major victory, and the Immigration Service has conceded. They've been holding up these EAD working cards, and they promise now to produce the cards within 5 days. So there's a major, major victory, very important. Okay, next. Immigration filing fees are going up. They're going up effective October 7th, 2020. And there's some significant increases. So if you are thinking about filing for naturalization, the fee is going up 83% effective October 2nd, 2020. So if you don't want to have to pay $11.70 because the current fee is $6.40, get your application in before October 2nd. Now, there are some other major fees involved. The fees going up for adjustment of status are going up a lot. So if you want to file for citizenship or you want to file for a green card in the United States, get your application in now. Okay, next. On public charge, we know that because of an injunction issued by the federal court in New York, the immigration public charge policy doesn't apply right now in New York, in Connecticut, and Vermont. And so if you've got an immigration case going and you're waiting for an interview or you're going to be filing, you don't have to put in that burdensome 944 form. Right now, public charge doesn't apply in New York, Connecticut, and Vermont. So that's a relief. And if you have an interview coming up, you won't have to deal with public charge when you go to the interview or when we go to the interview with you. Now, this public charge doesn't apply to American consulates anywhere beyond New York, New Jersey. If you have an interview at an American consulate, the injunction issued by the federal court applies to that also. So you won't have to worry about public charge when you go to an American consulate for an interview. Okay, next, one of my favorite topics is furloughs. The Immigration Service has said that they're going to be furloughing 70% of their people starting at the end of August. And the headline of the Washington Post for August 19th basically says, under Trump, the country's main immigration agency is going bankrupt. And so what they're threatening to do, unless they get 1.2 billion in emergency money from Congress.
Are they going to get it, guys? You all think they're going to get it?
If they don't get that money by the end of the month, they're going to furlough 13,000 employees out of 20,000, meaning that they'll be down to 30% of their workforce instead of 100%. So if you have an application pending for naturalization for anything, and they're going to be furloughing 70% of their employees starting at the end of August, unless they get $1.2 billion from Congress, this is going to slow everything down. And one of their employees with their union says, I can't emphasize enough how large an issue this will be. We're looking at the final days of legal immigration as we know it in the United States. We're talking about millions of people with an immigration system running at 30% of the present capacity. So this furlough is a very hot topic. It's going to kill everything. All your immigration cases are going to slow down, and we'll know by the end of August, because the furlough is supposed to take effect at the end of August unless they get the money they want. And even though they increase the fees, and they're going to get a lot more money from increasing the fees, they're still going to be doing the furlough. So that's some of the hot topics that are going on right now.
What I will do, what I will do, Alan, we're going to come back to you and continue on where that is concerned. But I want to ask all three of you, if they don't get that money, how does this affect the people out there who need help? Oh, there goes Siri speaking to me. How does this affect them, Nelson, Conrad, if and Alan, if they don't get that money?
Well, I think, obviously the process will be delayed. I mean, look, it's a matter of time before they do get the money, because they will get the money, obviously. But again, I think it just slows everything down. It brings everything to a screeching halt, and things would just take a lot longer than they normally take.
I don't think the Trump administration really cares if they get the money. And this is really a backdoor effort by the Trump administration to stop legal immigration. So I don't think, they're going to be running around trying to get the money.
They're not going to make it a priority.
It's less than a priority. They don't want it to happen. They are happy there'll be a furlough and everything will slow down.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, Alan. I mean, this is exactly what Stephen Miller, Trump has no idea what's going on about any of these immigration programs. He's given a couple of lines and he spews them out, and then ad libs on them. But this is all Stephen Miller's doing. And I agree. This is a backdoor attempt on their part to just shut down immigration. This is what they've been wanting to do. They've been using the pandemic as an excuse to get all the different restrictive immigration policies that they've been trying to get for the last 4 years. It's a wish list put out by the anti-immigrant organizations out there like FAIR, and the guy is in charge now. Cuccinelli has been an anti-immigrant crusader for years. All of these guys, this is a backdoor effort on their part to just let the immigration system collapse. It's exactly what they want, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully, they're going to be laying off, 13, 14,000 people. A lot of these people are Trump voters. Hopefully they won't be Trump voters anymore if they get laid off. Hopefully it'll backfire on them, like this idiotic tweet, when he's telling people to boycott Goodyear. And everybody working at Goodyear, probably the majority will vote for him because they're all in the Midwest and they're all pretty much blue collar workers, and that's his base. And he's basically shooting himself in the foot with the Goodyear thing going on. Hopefully it'll be the same thing here. So, and hopefully in a couple of months, and hopefully on November 4th, we'll come on this show and we'll have party hats on and we'll be blowing the different little horns like it's New Year's Eve.
Well, there goes for trying to be politically correct in my answer.
I know. I know exactly what Nelson was trying to do. All right. So anyway, let's jump into some questions here. Once again, folks, this show is about immigration. We have some serious, experienced attorneys here who can help each and every one of us out there where answering your questions is concerned. So right now, I would implore you to actually dial this number I'm about to give you and get your questions answered. You may not want to have them answered on air. You can get them answered off air. Here's the number. The number is 844-774-3529. It's a toll-free number, regardless of where you are in the world. You give us a ring. Immigration is federal, but it's also a minefield. All right. So that's the reason why you want to speak with one of these great, phenomenal attorneys at the law firm PPID, Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico.
Go ahead.
844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Yes, Conrad.
I want to elaborate on the point that I was just making. It's a political point. It's not really immigration related. The Goodyear. Trump tweeted yesterday or the day before, basically, that people should boycott Goodyear. Why? Because he heard that they had a policy that they weren't allowing their workers to wear MAGA hats. All right? Period. So because Goodyear is disallowing its employees from wearing MAGA hats, which, by the way, they don't allow any kind of political discourse, not just MAGA hats. So because Goodyear is not permitting its employees to wear MAGA hats, they're not allowed to engage in any political discourse, which is a good policy. We have the same policy at our firm. Trump said, you know what? Boycott Goodyear. You can get better tires for less money anyway. So just think about that for a second. All right. This is Goodyear. They have 62,000 employees. Most of the plants are in the Midwest. Most of them in battleground states. All right. And here's this guy who's trying to win those states. So if he had his way, everybody would boycott Goodyear, and everybody would get laid off. Right. And why? Because they're not allowing his employees to wear his hats. All right. Think about that for a second. All right. Where his priorities are. Just think about it. And again, it's self-defeating. I mean, he's hurting the people. The majority of them are probably voting for him. And and here he is screwing them. And why? Because it's all about him. Oh, they're not going to let him wear my hats. Screw them. Let's put them out of business.
That's Trump for you. That's the orange man for you. And that's the reason why, if you're out there and you have an issue with immigration, ladies and gentlemen, you need to call the attorneys. It's free, the consultation, the phone consultation. 844-774-3529. We're going to be continuing this discussion in detail right here on, of course, Cruising with the Case Handler, a show on immigration today. Once again, the number is 844-774-3529. But why don't we do this, gentlemen? We have a question here, okay, for you all. Let's jump into the first immigration question. It says, question 1, category F4. If welcome letter includes a child's name, but after receiving the welcome letter, he or she ages out as per CSPA, can they immigrate with parents?
Maybe. This is a common question. It seems like every show we get this question about the Child Status Protection Act, the CSPA. The bottom line is, if it's a preference case, and that's what this is, F4 is a fourth preference. It's a sibling, a U.S. citizen who's a sibling applying for a sister or brother. They can bring their children if the children are under 21 on the date of the interview, unless, or rather, in this case, if the kid turned 21, can't come normally, unless the exception allowed by the CSPA is depending on the date of the petition was filed, the date the petition was approved. The child could be considered under 21 based on the CSPA under the law. How do you determine that? It's a mathematical formula. Basically, you look at the date the petition was filed, you look at the date the petition was approved, and if let's say it was 4 years, it took 4 years to get that petition approved. You can take those 4 years and deduct those 4 years from the child's age. So if the child is 22 right now, deduct those 4 years, under the law he's considered 18 and he can come. That's how it works.
David, I just want to add, it sounds really easy, right? Hearing an attorney speak about it.
It sounds easy.
Good luck trying to convey that message yourself to immigration. Good luck trying to explain the CSPA to immigration. Good luck trying to convince them that they're wrong or that your child is eligible. This is unfortunately something that's very common. When you hear an attorney speak on a topic, it's because we're obviously very well versed in that topic.
Decades of experience.
That is correct. That is correct. Something I tell many of our clients, well, I didn't get that result. The officer told me this. The officer is going to tell you whatever he wants, and you got to go by what he tells you.
Right.
And when you get a denial or you get a notice of intent to deny, that's when obviously you realize you're in over your head. With specific issues like this, it, I think, behooves people to speak to an attorney, because if you have a child and that child, should come in with you, but now doesn't, now, you're basically trying to peel an onion. It becomes a lot more complicated.
There you go. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's the voice of, respectively, Conrad Pollack, and then, of course, Nelson Madrid, attorneys, immigration attorneys at the firm PPID, a full-service law firm. Once again, make the call, 844-774-3529. I personally believe that no one should file their own case when it comes to immigration. There are way too many potential issues that can happen and could put you and your family in removal proceedings. So it's very important that you seek help. Now, at least get yourself a free phone consultation with one of my attorneys at 844-774-3529. However, many of you will talk to the attorneys that said, oh, he gave me my answer. Now I know what to go and do it. I'll just go do it myself. It's just filling out some papers. Isn't that it, Alan? Isn't that what it's all about? It's just filling out some papers and that's it. Isn't it that easy? I mean, seriously, it's just filling out some papers. Why did you guys go to law school when we can just go read up on the internet and fill it out exactly the way it is on the internet? What's wrong with that? Why do you guys go to law school for immigration, and to study law? I mean, come on, we can just go fill it out and then you get screwed. literally, royally, up the creek without a paddle. And then you come running to the firm, and then that's when it gets expensive. You don't want to do that, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to do that. All right? Stop. I can't tell you enough. I mean, there's so many cases I speak with these attorneys about. I said, Squeeze, listen, man, everybody's trying to do their case themselves. And then they're coming to us and they want us to fix it. And they keep saying, it's great business for us, but it's more expensive for them. You know, so ladies and gentlemen, here's what I'm saying. Dial this number now, get a free phone consultation, then work out something with them to retain them. Tell them you want a payment plan, but work it out. Let them deal with the idiots over at immigration. Let them deal with the orange man. All you need to do is call 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Got another question here. I am a British citizen. My wife is a US citizen, and we're living together in the UK with our daughter. We want to move back to the USA next year to immigrate permanently. My question is, can we file the I-130 and complete the green card process with both of us living together in the UK? Or does she need to be residing in the USA to sponsor me and Mike and complete the affidavit of support?
She doesn't have to be residing here when the case starts. So the petition can be filed now with the USCIS, possibly at the American consulate. And then the petition will be approved and there'll be an interview scheduled at the American consulate in London. So you can get started with the case right now. Your wife does not have to be here to get the case started.
Okay, got you. Once again, that's the voice of Alan. We call him the general, all right? 844-774-3529. Here's one from the Facebook page directly. My I-90 has been pending for 4 months, as the processing time for the I-90 is at least 6.5 months. Does that mean with the possibility of a furlough, I will have to wait much longer for a decision?
It's possible. In other words, if 70% of their employees are furloughed, that's 70% less people who might be working on your I-90. So theoretically, if the furlough goes into effect at the end of August, it could affect the processing time for your I-90, and it could take much longer.
All right.
So now, David, I just like to add something to that. You know, let's simplify that. So you're waiting online to purchase something, right? And the cashier is obviously slow. So what do? Procrastinate and delay you waiting online when you know the line is long to begin with.
Right.
No, you want to get on the line so at least you're ahead of people. So at least your application is in, your petition is in.
Right. Don't wait.
You know, that's
get it in there now.
That's correct.
You got a spot in the line. You got a number in the line.
That is correct.
You know, you could get a number that's 101. You don't want to get a number that's 1001.
That's right.
In other words, everybody need to get their case in the system and get it done with an attorney at PPID. All right. This way, you know, it's structured. It's done right the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, Nelson makes sense what he just said. Don't sit on your asphalt and don't do anything about it. Come on. We got to get it in the system.
You know, also, David, and I don't want to get Conrad started, but we are in an election year.
Yes.
Okay. We don't know who's going to win. You know, but if certain people win, things are not going to get easier. And what's going to happen is you're going to have many people saying, should have, could have, but I didn't.
Yep.
You know?
That is true.
So take advantage and be proactive. You know, as I've said before, there are people in life who are proactive and there's people who are reactive.
Yep.
You know, proactive people are always ahead of the game. Reactive people, always think, again, should have, could have, but didn't, so I think it's something to keep in mind.
Absolutely. All right. Before we conclude on 93.5, just want to remind people, prior results do not guarantee similar outcome. However, ladies and gentlemen, here's an opportunity for every one of you that is out there to speak one-on-one with an experienced attorney. Now, listen, this is the most experienced immigration firm, law firm that has ever been on the station. Do your homework. The most experienced law firm that has ever been on 93.5 FM. That is a fact when it comes to immigration and personal injury. You're talking about the personal injury department. Adam Handler settled a case recently for $3 million. We'll talk about that at another time. You've got these immigration attorneys that, I mean, well, they all haven't been around for, well, I mean, let me not get Conrad started about how many years Alan's been doing this, but they have decades of experience under their belt. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the number. Dial it right this second, get a free phone consultation privately and confidentially, and then you can choose to hire them. The number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Regardless of your race, creed, color, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, they don't care. They want to help you. 844-PPID-LAW.
It's 10 o'clock.
All right, so let's wind up Conrad a little bit, okay, and get him going. I know you've been wanting to talk, so you can jump in, Conrad. All right.
On the contrary. Oh, I mean, well, we're always looking for good news to talk about on the show. I just heard that Steve Bannon was arrested. So there's the good news. Good news for the day. And for those of you who don't know who Steve Bannon is, Steve Bannon was basically the architect of Donald Trump's election efforts in 2016. He was the brain power behind him getting elected. Of course, and he was, I forget what position he had in the administration until Trump got tired of him because he was getting too much attention. And Donnie doesn't like when people get more attention than he does. So he fired him. But word is he just got arrested. I don't know what he did, but maybe he's a pedophile.
Defrauding donors in fundraising scam.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
Well, you know what I find amazing, right? And again, I don't want to obviously reveal my age, but in my many years of existence, I don't remember so many people being arrested, being convicted, with an administration. Again, it feels like it is a reality show. People quit, people get arrested, people plead guilty. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Steve Bannon, President Trump's former aide, was charged with fraud in a scheme tied to, wait for it, tied to We Build the Wall, an online fundraising effort. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up.
But I'm sure he'll get pardoned, and I'm sure it's the Democrats after him. And you know what? Let me not go there. I'm sorry.
What do you have to say, Alan? I know you want to get your piece in.
It's good news about Steve Bannon. I mean, it's just joins one of Trump's former allies who are in trouble, who are in jail, who are charged with crime. Doesn't surprise me. He's got a whole list.
Now Trump's going to, of course, say, "Oh, I hardly ever saw him. We hardly ever met.
Yeah. Who is he? I don't know him.
Right.
My mother used to say, "Tell me who you associate with, and I'll tell you who you are." And again, I'm just speechless. I'm floored. I mean, it seems like this is just a common occurrence, and we, the American people, have made this normal. We've become desensitized to all of this sensationalism and all of this corruption. And, I just, again, I'm speechless. I find it insane.
So remember, Election Day is around the corner, and you and your friends who are U.S. citizens must vote. Get out the vote. If you have you're a citizen and you don't know how to vote or how to read it, we'll help you to find out how to vote and where to vote. But get out, get your friends and family.
Doesn't that depend on who they're voting for?
Obviously, we're talking about voting not for Trump. Let's put it that way. There's only one other choice.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is called Cruising with the Case Handler. We're speaking on immigration today and how, it affects us all. And of course, as you can tell, we are all pro-Biden right now, of course, and obviously and rightfully so. Of course, I learned a fun fact today that Biden was very instrumental in creating the VAWA Act. So I'm learning so much right here, and I'm very thankful for the show. And just like myself, ladies and gentlemen, share the show with others. Let others learn what's going on. Immigration, this country was built on immigration. This country was built by immigrants. All right. Reach out to the firm, help someone out there who needs help by giving them the number. The number is 844 774 3529. That's 844 774 3529. Here's another question here. I just submitted my mother's civil documents for immigrant visa, and her last name is spelled differently on marriage certificate. Do you think it can raise issues? Any help is appreciated.
You just have to make the connection. In other words, if her name is spelled differently on the marriage certificate than it is on the birth certificate, you need maybe some papers, an affidavit, just to explain the difference in the names. It's not the hardest thing in the world to do.
Well, I think, right, but I think it's something you want to obviously try to rectify. Dealing with immigration is a roll of the dice. Every officer is different. Some are more meticulous than others. Some are just difficult people by nature. It's something that you should obviously try to rectify sooner rather than later.
There you go. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, cruising with a case handler. We are here, and of course, bringing you all up to speed. Now, what did you all think? Let me give out a number: 844 PPID law, 844 PPID LAW. And to top it off, I want to ask, what do you all think about the DNC last night?
I got to be honest with you. It made me realize that I'm not the only person that sees what I see, because sometimes you feel it's like, is this really happening? Does no one else see everything I see? I completely agree with Obama. I think our democracy, is at stake. I think this election is very, very serious. I mean, there's a couple of Supreme Court justices that are apparently about to retire and are holding on for obvious reasons. I think it's serious. I think we're in serious times. I am a big Kamala Harris fan. I definitely have an admiration for strong and intelligent women. And I think it's, the fact that her parents were immigrants, and she got to where she is also impressive. She swam against the current and she is where she is. So, I'm riding with Biden.
And one of her parents is from Jamaica, and the other of her parents is from India.
Yeah.
Oh, she's definitely an impressive woman. And I mean, look, I was planning on voting for Biden all along, but just hearing everybody talking, and I thought his wife did a great job. I thought Michelle Obama was very eloquent. Yeah, I'm not a big Hillary fan, but even she was good last night. She actually was even, she had a little joke in there here and there. So it was a good speech. I thought John Kerry the other night was really effective. Colin Powell also. I think the speakers have been great. And I love the fact that they're trotting out all of these Republicans. Come on, think about it. I mean, it's unprecedented. Have you ever seen anything like this, where members of the other party are coming out in favor of the other party's candidate?
Isn't Colin Powell Republican?
Yeah.
He is. All Kasich, Powell, Cindy McCain, John McCain's widow. All of these people are coming. They're all coming out in favor of Biden because they recognize that Trump is dangerous, that he's a danger to our democracy, and he is. This is the. I mean, look, they say it every year. Every election cycle. This is the election that's going to change history. It's a historic election, and that's usually not the case. This time it is. This guy gets another 4 years. I'm afraid we're not going to recognize the United States 4 years from now, based on what this guy's capable of doing. Look at what he's done, having to worry about getting reelected. Look at all the crazy things that he's done. Embracing dictators while he's cutting off our allies, for instance. Abandoning our allies in the field in the Middle East, and just, I mean, the list goes on and on. And another 4 years. I shudder to think of it. I
So,
can't imagine.
So we all should.
so something that I didn't notice yesterday that my wife noticed that I obviously looked into today. How about Elizabeth Warren? Did anybody pay attention to what she
Yeah.
had in the background?
No,
You know, Elizabeth Warren was
she was
in
pissed. She was pissed off last night.
a classroom, and I didn't notice this last night, but my wife mentioned it, and I thought, you know, I my wife always notices everything. I don't. But
That's the reason why you married a strong, intelligent woman, right?
when you look at Elizabeth Warren in the background, in the bookshelf, she has the letters BLM.
Oh, Black Lives Matter.
Okay. And, you know, it was a very subtle, but a shout out, you know, so kudos to her, you know, kudos to her team. You know, my wife said, oh my God, is that BLM? And I was like, what are you talking about? Where? I don't even see it. So I got in this morning very early, and they made a point to mention it in the papers that, yeah, she had BLM right behind her, you know, and I think it's important. I think, you know, as Conrad said, I think this election is the real deal, you know. I personally, I hope Biden wins by a landslide, so there's no dispute, so there's no argument, and hopefully it shows that the United States of America does not stand with him and does not believe in the things he believes in. But I don't know, you know. I mean, I that's what I hope, but I guess we'll see.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Alan, anything you want to say before we top it off? As I tell people to call 844-774-3529. That's 844 PPID LAW.
Alan, I have a question for you. Wait, I'm sorry. I have a question for you
Yes.
because you've been doing this a lot longer than Conrad and I.
Yep.
How would you compare to this administration to administrations in the past? And obviously there's no comparison, but has anyone come close? Does this bring back memories of anything you have seen previously in the field of immigration law?
No, this is the worst that it's ever been. And you've got a president who's trying to stop immigration. And that's never really happened before. And even the Republican presidents weren't so anti-immigrant and anti-immigration as he is. So
On the contrary, Alan, I think Republican presidents have been more pro-immigrant than the Democratic presidents since I've been practicing.
That's right.
I mean, Reagan arguably was from an immigration perspective. Reagan was arguably the best president we had.
Yes. There's been nothing like Trump ever before.
You know, immigrants. This is not news. Maybe it would be news to him, but you know. The United States has an aging population. Most of the Western democratic countries, Western Europe, Japan, have aging populations. And how do you reinvigorate these populations? With immigrants. I mean, that's always been the case. I mean, who's gonna? And we've talked about this before. As we get older, I mean, home care workers. Who are the home care workers out there? Where are they from? They're from the West Indies. They're from the Philippines. If these people aren't allowed to come here, who's going to take care of us when, you know, when somebody has to wheel Nelson around in a chair, in a wheelchair? You know, who's going to do that? You know, we're not going to have these people here, and it's happening already. I mean, in the restaurants and in the fields. I mean, my God, you know, I was just reading an article in the Times about they interviewed some Mexican immigrants that picked cherries in Washington, and they were interviewing the different companies out there, and they were saying how every year they have fewer and fewer people to pick the fruit. I mean, who's gonna? And even they got quotes from the immigrants themselves who recognize how essential they are, and they were saying how it's funny how previously they were illegal aliens, now all of a sudden they're essential workers. You know, I mean, they noticed it themselves. Interesting, but they were saying themselves, I see all those apples rotting on the trees. I see all those strawberries rotting on the vines. You know, who's going to pick them? You know, if we don't let these people in, who's going to do this work?
This
It's
this is-
crazy.
That is absolutely true.
This is from the Washington Post a couple of days ago. For decades under Republican and Democratic presidents, USCIS performed the valuable work of maintaining safeguards while helping guide the ambitions, energy, and pluck of millions of strivers around the world who were dreaming of a better life, were equipped to enrich the United States economically and culturally. Under the Trump administration, the agency has become first and foremost a barrier to these strivers. The country is poorer for it. And that's the Washington Post yesterday.
And, you know, when the Homeland, after 9/11, when the Homeland Security Department was created, you know, prior to that, it was Immigration Natural Relations Service, INS, right? It was the one agency, they did everything, enforcement, benefits, everything. After 9/11 and they created DHS, they had I think, a good idea to split the different branches of the Immigration Service. And that's when they created CBP, which takes care of the border, ICE, which takes care of enforcement, and CIS, which was a benefits-driven agency. CIS was created out of the INS specifically to confer benefits on wannabe immigrants intending to come to the United States to work and to live. Right? Trump has taken the CIS and made it into exactly that, a barrier. It was meant to be a benefits organization like Social Security, which gives out Social Security cards and Social Security benefits. CIS was meant to give out green cards and visas and so on. Trump has transformed it into a barrier and into an impediment to people coming to the United States, and it's truly unfortunate. And again, Biden gets in, hopefully that's going to change. In fact, I know it's going to change. Can't get any worse.
Once again,
get Biden in there.
We all got to go out and vote. That's it. This show is on immigration today. We're speaking about what needs to be done to make some changes. And obviously the current administration has not been advantageous for any of us. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, it's extremely important that we all go out and vote. Those of us who can vote, very imperative that we do that. Get out there and vote for Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a joke. I mean, on a serious note, I'm going to start having sleepless nights as we get closer to the election, because we all saw what happened 4 years ago. You know, no one believed that could have happened, and it happened. So it's extremely important that we get up and go out and vote. That's part of the problem. A lot of us do not go out and vote. We must vote, ladies and gentlemen. Take advantage of that right that you have to vote and execute it. Once again, this show brought to you by, of course, the law offices of Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico. And I think each and every one of us need to actually reach out to the firm if we need help. The number is 844-774-3529. Also, if you get hurt in an accident, ladies and gentlemen, you will need this attorney that's called the case handler. I call him the shark because of how good he is when he goes after the insurance companies to get the maximum amount of compensation for you, regardless of your immigration status in the United States. So reach out to the firm, store their number, dial it, 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. And lastly, we're asking you to actually share what it is that you are watching now. Even after we get off, you can still share it with as many people as possible on Facebook. Share it, email the link to some people, let them watch the show. It's a great show. And you can catch us on 93.5 FM in New York, 9:30 a.m. weekdays, ladies and gentlemen. Saturdays, 7 p.m. and 12 noon. Make sure you reach out to us, join us, and enjoy the show. Learn a thing or two. Listen to Conrad speak about the Orange Man, or listen to the immigration attorneys all here answer the questions. The number, once again, is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Gentlemen, thank you so much for a wonderful show. And I'm very happy that we're speaking about current affairs. I think it's extremely necessary for people to understand what's going on. And the fact that you all broke it down to people, because a lot of people don't understand what is going on. So it's good to actually hear you guys speak on it and break it down for people, especially our Caribbean community. We are at a loss, as to what's going on. So it's good to actually hear you guys as attorneys speak about it and expand on it. Thank you all so much. Any final words, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Make a
let's
plan to
watch
vote.
the convention. I'm sorry, Alan, go ahead.
No, just say, make a plan to vote, go out and vote, and get all your friends and relatives, US citizens, and get them to come out and vote also. Very important.
Watch the show tonight. Biden is coming out. I think Biden's accepting the nomination tonight, isn't he?
Yes.
So hopefully he'll make a good show. And, because of course they keep pounding the fact that, he's senile, which, it's funny that of all the guys, that is making that claim, he's the one that's senile. But
Thailand?
Trump.
huh?
Right,
No,
Thailand.
No, I like the other one. Yosemites. That was a good one. Yosemites. Talking about Yosemite National Park. It's Yosemites. Yeah. Well, anyway, watch the convention tonight and vote. Vote Democrat.
All right. Not a problem. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Cruising with a Case Handler, the immigration edition. Call them at 844-774-3529. That's Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico. That's the name of the firm. Pollack, Isaac, and DeSico. And of course, they're also known as PPID. Thank you all so much for watching. Have yourself an amazing day.